So we're here in Osaka, Japan with the Hyundai Ioniq 5 EV. Now, Hyundai invited us to their drive experience event here in Osaka. So we're going to introduce you to the car and tell you what it's all about. Now, we've covered Hyundai Ioniq 5 on cleanearth.io previously, but we've never had a chance to have any time test driving it. So here we are today. Now, one of the things about Hyundai Ioniq 5 as it relates to this test is that Hyundai is making a push into the Japan market to sell its EVs. One of the reasons is that Japan is a laggard in terms of EV adoption. So companies like Hyundai as well as Chinese automakers are really targeting the Japanese market because they believe that there is an opportunity to sell their EVs here. And so this is an example, one of the first examples here in Japan. So what do we know about Ioniq 5? Well, first, it comes in either single motor or dual motor configuration. The single motor configuration will give you roughly 225 horsepower and the dual motor will give you 303 horsepower. Also, in terms of range, the single motor, which is rear wheel drive, will give you about 260 miles of range and the dual motor will give you roughly 300 miles of range in mixed driving. Now, in terms of the battery, it is a 58 kilowatt hour battery, usable capacity, but it has a maximum capacity of 77 kilowatt hours. In terms of charging, this is an 800 volt charging system that can accept 250 kilowatt DC fast charging. It will charge this vehicle from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes according to Hyundai. Now that's if you can find the right type of fast charger. In terms of weight, it is a bit of a heavy vehicle at roughly 2 tons in either the single motor configuration or the dual motor configuration. Now, who is Hyundai Ioniq 5 for? Well, at least by our impressions, this can be for small families or for individuals seeking an EV alternative to Tesla. Now, Hyundai is targeting really sort of a young demographic with this vehicle, and that is really reflected in the styling. So a bit of unique as well as aggressive styling on the Hyundai Ioniq 5. As you can see, it's got sort of these geometric shapes, the rectangle light patterns, as well as these vertical lines in the bumper. And here you've got sort of this blacked out area, which is pretty interesting rather than relying on a conventional grille. And then there is a front mounted camera and not much in terms of vents up front because it is a battery electric vehicle. And so you don't need the typical sort of radiator treatment that you get with an internal combustion engine. It's called an SUV, and I wouldn't quite go that far. I mean, it is a high vehicle, but probably more of a crossover than SUV. And it is a sort of a bit misleading because in some ways you get the impression that it's actual sort of conventional passenger vehicle, but it does have a bit of a tall stance, but you know, it sort of has its own unique look about it as well, which is pretty cool. There's a key function here in case, I suppose, there's an issue with the electrical system and the driver gets locked out. There is a way to get into the vehicle without relying on the electrics. But the big question is, does Hyundai Ioniq 5 have a frunk? And yes, it does. It's quite shallow, so you can get some things like some charging cables in it. Maybe a very sort of flat bag, not much you can put in here. But if you're looking for the convenience of carrying something additionally in Hyundai Ioniq 5, you do have this option here. Now, obviously the electrical components are in here as well, so might not be something that most people would want to sort of be involved with, but you do have the option with or of a frunk in the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Overall, you've got this drive lever, very high quality feel to it, also very easy to understand, so you don't confuse which drive mode the vehicle's in, whether it's park, drive, neutral, or reverse. So you can set your drive mode using this drive button, and that can either be sport, normal, or eco. And here you've got some steering wheel mounted controls. These are haptic as well. And the steering wheel, nice, really sort of thick steering wheel, very comfortable to hold on to. And then if you're more interested in driving sort of a performance orientation, you can do that as well. Maybe a little bit large, but for a vehicle like this, that's not really a big problem. And then you've got these really bright dual 12.3-inch displays, one for the driver information and then one here for the infotainment as well as navigation. So in terms of personalization, the Ioniq 5 has ambient lighting. You can see that around the Bose audio system. This is an 8-speaker Bose audio system and really nice sound, very full sound in the vehicle. But if you're looking to personalize your Ioniq 5, you can do that in this vehicle. So one of the things that we look at in any car is how well you can see around the vehicle. And this is a tall car, as I mentioned previously, but you do get a good sense of where the car is. You can sort of see where the corners are on the car. The hood is very flat, and of course that's a function of it being an EV. I'm gonna raise this seat up as well. And so if it's really important for you to be able to see over the vehicle, you do get enough height from this seat in order to do that. I actually feel like I'm sitting on top of the car like it's a shopping cart. And that was one of my complaints with Hyundai vehicles in the past, is that you always felt like you're sitting on top of the car, and they've maintained that in the Hyundai Ioniq 5. But for what this car is, because it is a tall car, that might actually be a good thing. And so very favorable impressions in terms of being able to navigate a car like this, especially a tall car, a big car like this. But if you're more of a sort of sport-oriented driver, performance-oriented driver, you can get a nice low seating position in this vehicle and feel like the car goes where you point it. So that's important to you in the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Gets the thumbs up in my view as far as the driver seating position. One of the things I talked about with the interior is the seats. And so you can actually adjust the firmness of the seats to make it more to your liking. And then there's a footrest here as well. So I'm going to adjust my statements about the Ioniq 5. I think for any driver, when you get the Ioniq 5 set up the way you want, this will be a very nice car to operate on a day-to-day basis. You've got this front pocket for storage as well as a USB port, and you have here the cup holders, and the front ports are USB-A. So once again, something for Hyundai to adjust and ultimately change to USB-C. And here you've got a Qi wireless charging pad, which is rubberized, and you can see the Qi logo there as well. And then this large storage pocket. What's cool is that you've also got this area here for storage, and there is no charging port in here, but it is rubberized if you want to keep your smartphone stored. You've got the climate control, which is haptic right here. And you can see right here, you've got the climate control setting right there. So that's haptic. I know there's some controversy around haptic controls, but this is what you have here in the Ioniq 5. These buttons right here, you can change your infotainment display options with this right here. And you can also get your navigation system as well and see a map of where you are. And then there's some tuning options as well, but this is a cool feature where you can zoom out and zoom into the map right here. So overall, the information is presented really well. I really enjoyed the driver information display in terms of being able to understand what the car is doing, or even sort of what my intentions are with the car in terms of turn signals or sport mode and so on. It's a large panoramic roof, and if you see right there, it opens up pretty cool, sort of like almost like a space shuttle bay type of effect. Now, in terms of legroom, there is very good legroom back here. It's a very spacious vehicle. One of the things to note is that there is sort of a footwell back here, a little bit on the shallow side, but you can get your feet under there. My sneakers are a bit tall, but if you needed to stretch your feet out, you can do that pretty well. You've got the USB-A ports back here once again. One of the very cool features about Ioniq 5 is if you're a passenger, you can actually adjust your rear seat forward or backwards. So that's great for cargo space right there, and it does move quite a bit. So you have a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do in terms of space with this seat. I've never seen that in a vehicle before. So that is a very nice feature to really maximize the cargo space, especially when you have passengers that don't really need all of the leg room back here. And then just considering that even the driver and passenger seat, you can move. And so there's a lot of flexibility with this Hyundai Ioniq 5. That is very cool. And then the interior, as I said, very high quality materials. You've got sort of this minimalist sort of approach that Hyundai's taking, but very high quality. You've got a sunshade also, which is very cool. Not something you see often in a car of a class like this, and it's a very sunny day. So if I close this door, blocks out the sun really well. And so very nice touch from Hyundai in terms of passenger comfort and convenience. Just lower that down and there you go with that. And here you've got this cup holder as well as a pocket for either smartphone or a small book. And then you have also a small water bottle that you can place in here as well. And so this is the rear of the Hyundai Ioniq 5. It definitely is a winner in my opinion. So here is your cargo area, and according to Hyundai, there's about 540 cubic liters of space back here in the Hyundai Ioniq 5. It is a high lift from the ground over to the Hyundai Ioniq 5. So for heavy luggage, that could be a bit of a problem, but you do have sort of this durable material right here, as well as the plastic right here to protect it against any scuffs, but perhaps here might become an issue if you're trying to bring in some heavy luggage into this vehicle. So it is quite high. And then there's a shallow subfloor, so there's not much you can do here except for put some charging cables in. And then you've got this cargo cover as well. And the nice thing about this is not flimsy by any means. It requires a good bit of a pull in order to be able to lock this into place, and that locks in pretty easy to cover your cargo. But again, as I showed in the interior earlier, the cool thing is that you can actually get more cargo space out of this vehicle simply by adjusting the passenger seat frontward and backward. Now, the thing is there are no controls to do that from inside the trunk, so you would have to go into the vehicle, into the rear seat area to be able to do that. You've got the automated lift close function, and there is a camera right here to be able to see behind the Hyundai Ioniq 5. In terms of styling, this is pretty cool. You've got sort of this matrix pattern, LED lighting right here. It gives some real character to the car. Not something that you see ordinarily on cars, almost like a video game effect. And you've got your high mounted tail lights or stop lights right here, and an integrated spoiler coming off the roof. So we're going to do a test drive. Okay. Wow, okay. Wow, nice. Okay. So Kuruma no sound? Okay, wow, okay. So he just demoed the Bose speaker system, which really sets the attitude of the car, the atmosphere of the car. So this is a rainy day atmosphere. Very nice. Okay. All right. Okay. Very nice. Okay. All right. We're going to take off here. Very smooth acceleration. Quiet as well. Very nice. Okay. All right. We do about 50 kilometers per hour here. The car feels really solid. Just in the seats, the interior, very high quality materials, very supportive seats that I have here with me. And it's just a really nice car and good visibility around this vehicle. Very responsive, but also a linear type of acceleration. So the car is not short on power by any means at all. And just a smooth ride, even for an EV. You don't really hear the road noise. It's a very quiet interior. This is very refined. And now I'm doing one pedal driving, so I'm not on the brakes at all, and I'm getting the lane departure system. But the regenerative braking, one pedal driving is very nice. If you're wondering how it is on a long drive, at least on initial impressions, it is quite comfortable with supportive seats. The ride's a little bit firm, but not intolerable at all, especially for a heavy EV with the heavy battery in it. And on a road like this, which is sort of a little bit bumpy, it absorbs the bumps well, nothing jarring at all. What's nice is this camera, because in Japan, you're required to check your left lane for cyclists. And so that's really helpful, or if there's a pedestrian crossing, to just have another check at what's around the vehicle. So we're going to train drive mode now. We're in sport mode. So immediately I could feel the responsiveness of the car. The driver display has changed to sort of a magenta, sort of red color to indicate the performance of the car. As soon as I get through the intersection, I'm going to get on the accelerator a little bit here. So here we go. Okay, yeah, that's like a spaceship, okay? Like that is fast. like wow. that is serious. That is really serious. So yeah. So one of the things you can see here is you got a torque meter, you've got the power meter, and then you've got your speed. Unfortunately, we've got a car in front of us, so I'm gonna try to delay a little bit before I take off again, but this thing has got some power in it. So that is absolutely fantastic if you're looking for an EV that can really get up and go. So we're gonna try and give a little bit of space right here. Okay, so yeah, it's not even fair how responsive this vehicle is here. So if you're looking for some performance orientation in a practical package at an affordable price, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 is definitely something that should be on the short list. It is a single motor spec, so just imagine the possibilities with a dual motor all-wheel drive configuration on the Ioniq 5. Unfortunately, like I said, we can't really go at the speed we want, but we'll try to give them a little bit of space here to get it going, and then I'll show you one more time. So okay, here we go. Yeah, immediately. So 25 to 60 in literally under 2 seconds, this car can absolutely move. So we're gonna come around a curve here, and I know I've been testing acceleration, but in terms of the sport mode, just how it handles this curve right here, you've got, the steering's still a little bit light, so it doesn't give you sort of that real sort of performance sport coupe type of feel with the steering feel, but you know, the handling is still solid on it nonetheless. And yeah, in terms of acceleration and passing, it will be no problem in this Ioniq 5, especially if you're on the highway and need to move around slow traffic quickly. This thing's a rocket, period. Here we go. Nice. I think a very well balanced package. Now, when I just did the braking, I did one pedal driving on that to bring the car down to speed. I actually really didn't do much with the brake at all. The car does have a very nice one pedal driving feature and brought itself to a stop pretty well from roadway speed, which was roughly 50 kilometers per hour, maybe 60 kilometers per hour. So if you're looking for that component in terms of how this car performs with one pedal driving, I think you'll be quite satisfied with the Hyundai Ioniq 5. But just some more impressions. This road is a lot smoother here, and so the car really has a nice feel. We just hit a little bump there. The car absorbed the bumps really well. Again, on a less even surface, the car is a little bit firm, but you know, nothing intolerable, and the seats are nice and supportive, and so again, you won't get tired of driving this car, at least on road trips anyway. I could see sort of extended time on the road, maybe a bumpy road might become a little bit of a fatigue, but I think overall very good. These seats are very supportive. They're perforated seats, and the materials are very high quality. Even the cushioning in the seat is very good as well. And the car just feels airtight. So we're gonna go around another curve. We're just gonna treat this like, you know, sort of ordinary driving, sort of a bit on the spirited side. I don't know these roads very well, so I'm not going to be too aggressive, but I've got the one pedal driving going right now. The car is bringing itself down the speed, and I'm just gonna take this curve. And I have to say, in terms of my driving style, Masugu? Okay. In terms of my driving style, we came into that turn pretty smooth. The car, more or less, it goes where you point it. Not quite as linear as some of the cars that I would like, but this car is linear for what it is, and so no arguments there. The car, in terms of some driver assist features. It does have a lane keeping assist, so the car did just correct me from a few meters ago. But if I get out of the lane, it will make an audible alert to let me know that I am drifting out of the lane. We're gonna go in eco mode in our last minute, just to give you a sense of what that's like. So first, the throttle is not as responsive. The car sort of crawls as you start off. And even when you really push on the throttle, the car is very, very sort of mild feedback in terms of acceleration. So if you're doing city driving, you can really maximize the efficiency. And here we are. So that is our road impression of the Hyundai Ioniq 5. So what's the verdict on Hyundai Ioniq 5? Well, in our view, it is a clear buy. It is at the top of our list of EVs that we've looked at over the past several months. It gets it right in terms of styling, performance, as well as interior features and quality. It's a really nice and unique vehicle, and it is a forward-thinking vehicle. The tops on our list: 1, performance in terms of the acceleration, as you saw earlier in the video, and we really love that panoramic moonroof. Also liked the dual infotainment display. A few little refinements that we would recommend to Hyundai from our perspective. 1, in terms of the actual visibility, making some of the button displays a little bit bigger, as well as more contrast. In some of the lighting conditions, it was hard to see those controls, but that's just a small detail. And then the other recommendation is to change those USB-A ports to USB-C. So again, this is at the top of our list, a strong buy. Let us know what you think about Hyundai Ioniq 5, as well as any questions. Thanks for checking out this video. For more like this from us, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video soon.